And we are back. Finals are over. It is break. I've made a video in the longest time. It is just about midnight. I just finished the Giants Commanders game. I'm exhausted, but we're gonna go ahead and talk about this crazy football week. Alright, so I don't think I've ever watched a more insane. Well, I didn't watch every game. I don't think I've ever experienced / watch a more insane football week than this week. Both footballs, American football and soccer. Just an insane sports week in general. The World Cup happened today. I caught the end of it, and man, it was the greatest soccer. I don't watch soccer that often. I watch the World Cup, I follow the Union a little bit, but that was the greatest game of soccer I've ever watched. It was magnificent performance from Mbappe and Messi, just two legends, a future legend and a current and past legend going at it. You just can't ask for much more. American football. Some insane historical games happened as well in different ways. Starting off, the Thursday night game was the 49ers and Seahawks. I didn't pay too much attention to that game. It's just, it's trying to figure out, there's a lot of hype around Brock Purdy being Mr. Irrelevant, coming in and playing really well the first 2 weeks. Kind of leveled out here, but hey, he's doing exactly what they need. The 49ers have a system where the quarterback has a specific role, and they supply with the weapons, the offensive line. You got Kyle Juszczyk as a fullback, and then you have the weapons around with Christian McCaffrey, Debo when he comes back, Ayuk, just all these guys that all you got to do is do the specific role they have to facilitate the offense. And if you can do that, that offense is going to be humming. It can be humming, and that defense really carries. That defense is insanity. As an Eagles fan, it scares me a little watching them just single-handedly dominate teams. So 49ers is definitely a team to look out for. They handled business against the Seahawks. An important win. Seahawks are starting to skid a little bit after their amazing, unthinkable start. It was really cool to see what they were able to do. Colts and Vikings. I feel like I should talk about this last, but I'm just going in chronological order. I turned this game on maybe end of the first quarter, and it was 23-0 at that point, and the halftime was 33-0. I'm like, man, I was making bold statements. I'm like, Minnesota Vikings are what people say the Philadelphia Eagles are, and what people call the Eagles, the Steelers, who went 10-0, but then lost a bunch of games and got knocked out of the first round. I'm like, that's the Vikings. That's what I was saying, and I still think I have some validity to that. But in that case, it was a little premature comment to make. And everyone was making premature comments because no one's ever come back from a 33-point deficit. It's never happened. So it's not like we were talking about a 17-0 deficit, which gets overcome all the time. Someone overcame that today. I think it was the Bengals did. So we'll talk about that game a little bit. But yeah, I mean, the Vikings look dead in the water, man. And it's Kevin O'Connell, I don't know what he said in halftime, but he got them together, and Kirk was able to play a really good half. Defense was able to eliminate the Colts. the Colts scoring came a lot from like special teams, defense, and some offense. So when you completely shut out the offense and then limit the mistakes on special teams and defense, they were able to clean it up a lot, and they allowed only 3 points in the second half, which was able to let the offense kind of take over and come back into the game. It was embarrassing about the Colts. It was like at that point, all you gotta do is not play stupid, run the ball out. Like I know Jonathan Taylor was hurt, but you have guys that you can just run the ball. Like it's not a difficult concept, but when you try to do too much and then you play stupid, any deficit can be blown. It's as we can see here. So yeah, really not good loss for the Colts. I think we can comfortably say Jeff Saturday's coaching days are going to be over in a few weeks, at least for the time being. Maybe he'll get back into it, start in some lower role, work back up. But this whole throw him into the fire mid-season, that experiment is not doing well. As far as the Vikings, and I won't spend this much time on every game. I just think this needs extra attention. The Vikings are so interesting, man, because like it is hard. What's the record? They're 11 wins, 11-3. Yeah, it's like it is hard to win 11 games in the league. It is, and they've won every close game, which means they know how to they know how to win games. They will find ways to win games, which is what you want in a contender. But it's like when every game's like a one possession game, kind of, and then you end up losing stupid games like they have, or when you play really good teams like the Eagles and Cowboys and you just get entirely owned, it raises some questions. So I think they're a good team. Do I see them going very far in the playoffs? No. I can see them losing in the divisional round pretty easily. I can pretty easily see that. Because, like, the defense itself is not very impressive. The secondary is rough. The front seven's pretty good. The secondary is rough. One of your best corners is Patrick Peterson, who is he's been around a while, and he's not the Patrick Peterson in the Cardinals days, in his prime days. And then I think it was Shelley, who was, I don't know if he's a defensive back for them. He was really good. Like I really liked what I saw in the Colts game. So maybe he has something there. Not too familiar with the guys, but I know the secondary is pretty rough. So they got to play smart, and Kirk Cousins he's not known for his winning in prime time in big games, which is why he gets clowned a lot. So we'll see. The Ravens-Browns games, I did not watch a second because I don't watch the Browns. And I'll leave it at that. The Dolphins-Bills game, this was a fantastic game. Just that made the snow when the snow started coming down in the second half. Just a back and forth game. Tua looked pretty good. He needed a bounce back game. Dolphins gave them a fight. I mean, yeah, you could do some things better, but it's like, you know what? You gave the Bills a fight. They're a really good team. You're a team from Miami who has a nice roof, and then on their stadium, and you're playing in Buffalo with fans throwing snowballs at you, and you can barely see 6 feet ahead of you because there's so much snow. They played really well. Bills trying to lock up the 1 seed. Bills have been interesting because their run game has been kind of they've dealt with some injuries. Josh Allen has had to do everything, which causes some mistakes to happen, which is entirely on Josh Allen. But when he does everything, mistakes tend to follow sometimes. So I think that's just something to watch for, because the other guys need to step up to take some pressure off of Josh Allen. And hopefully they can do that so they can make a legitimate run. And I think I think a Super Bowl is very possible, and I'm rooting for them to make a Super Bowl. I like the team they got there. I'm a big fan of Josh Allen. Always has been from the draft process. I've liked Josh Allen a lot. Let's go my birds and bears. When you're a 13-1 team, 12-1 coming into this week, and you're playing a 3-10 team, you don't want a one-score game. Obviously, you don't want a close game. But I think it was so cold. It was like 15 degrees. It was just cold. Hurts is he's from Texas. He played in Alabama and Oklahoma. He played in the SEC and he played in the Big 12. He wasn't, and then he hasn't played any cold games like that in the NFL yet. This was just new to him. He's never played anything this cold, so he made some bad mistakes early on. Those were 2 bad interceptions, and but he was able to kind of rebound from that and like say, you know what, I gotta put this team on my back because we're all struggling a little bit because Justin Fields was going crazy. Oh, he's so good, Justin Fields. I mean, I'm a big fan. I'm excited to see what the Bears do when they get some offensive line protection, when they get some weapons, when they shore up that defense. I'm very excited to see what he can do. But anyway, yeah, Jalen Hurts was able to step up. He passed for over 300 yards. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith were well over 100 yards. I think A.J. Brown was close to 200. If Devontae Smith gets like 99 more yards, we get another 1,000-yard receiver, which is insane. I really wanted the ball to be ran more. I think Miles needed more touches, even though he had the fumble. Just when we get Miles the ball, we win. We win games. He's been a dog all season. He's been an unsung hero of this team. He's been a really, really important piece. He's fighting for that contract, man. He wants that contract. And he's balling. He is balling on this. This is a bet on yourself year, and he is absolutely taking advantage of it. So I'm hoping he gets paid, hopefully by us, but we'll see. The running back market is weird. But anyway, we were able to handle the win in the cold, which so I'm gonna be okay with seeing the mistakes and the sloppiness because I don't think we were ready for the cold, even though we practiced outside, did all that. But I think it's important to get used to it, even though it's not likely that we're going to play in the cold in the playoffs, because you think of like the teams in the playoffs, like the Cowboys, the 49ers, the Vikings have an indoor stadium. It's like cold isn't going to be an issue, but it's always good to play in bad elements. So yeah, and the Super Bowl is in Arizona, and it's in an indoor stadium. So cold's not necessarily going to be a thing, but it's good to face adversity, whether that's elements or play or sloppiness or tough opponents. It's important, and we are able to overcome it, which is great. Lions and Jets, didn't watch this game, but hey, Lions 7 out of last 8. They were 1-6. Now they're 7-7. Coming for Washington for the last spot. It'll be like Washington, Seattle, and Detroit kind of competing for the last spot, which it'll be fun to see coming down the wire these last 3 weeks. Steelers and Panthers, didn't watch this game either. I have a cousin who's a Panthers fan, so I was kind of rooting for him, but they unfortunately cannot put up the win against Mitchell Trubisky, which is rough. Because if they wanted to make a playoff run, I mean, you got to win these games. I mean, granted, the Bucs lost, which was helpful, which kind of keeps them in it. But like, these are games you got to win. You just do. Chiefs and Texans. Texans got some fight, man. You just got to give them credit. They are not super high on talent right now in defensive defensively, offensively. Even Damian Pierce is hurt. Davis Mills does not look good this year at all. Brandon Cooks has played like he doesn't want to be there at all, because he doesn't. So to be able to pull a fight against the Chiefs and make them play sloppy, it's impressive. It's impressive. And they've been able to play good teams well, which is always admirable against again, if you are one of the worst teams record-wise, to put up a fight. It's important because, you're getting a top draft pick, probably going to get Bryce Young. But you're also playing quality minutes and getting quality experience. So it's good. Saints and Falcons, didn't watch that. Hurts our draft pick, though, so I'm mad the Saints won. Jaguars and Cowboys. It's beautiful. It's just poetry when you have Doug Peterson still fighting for the Eagles today. To this day. It's just, man, the Cowboys. All the focus was, they were looking at the Philly game. Which is funny because that Philly game is not going to mean that much to us. We just need to win one of the last three. And it's like, we're not focused. We were focused on Chicago because we knew it was going to be a tough game. They were looking right past the Jaguars, which is what they did with the Texans too, and they almost blew that as well. It's not a good thing to practice when you're just looking ahead to the other week and just ignoring your not solely focusing on what you got. You got Micah Parsons making stupid comments, just disregarding talent. It's just not a good look at all. It's not. And they paid for it, and it was a deflected pick six, but Dak has been a little questionable with the ball, throwing interception stuff. So it's something to look out for. Dak also not known for winning playoff games in 7 years. He only has one playoff win. The Cowboys are It's interesting that I wouldn't say upset alert in the first round, just because even if they play the Bucs, I think they're the better team, and I think they can handle business. But you never know, right? You just got to be careful when you're playing like this with this attitude. It's not good. It's not good. It's good for me because I hate the Cowboys. And it helps lock up our 1 lock up the division. It's great. Broncos Cardinals. Skip. There's two not good teams right now. Raiders and Patriots. My goodness, what are you doing? If you didn't see the play, it was the final play of the game. It was a tie game, right? 24-24. You can let the clock run out, go to overtime. They run to Ramondre Stevenson, who had 172 yards. He was fantastic today. And he gets a good run, no time left on the clock, so he pitches it back. First of all, that first pitch back, it's just get down. It's time's up. You don't need to play stupid. Just go to overtime, try to win it then. Pitches it back to Jacoby Myers. He can't find anyone. So instead of just pitching it back or getting on the ground, letting the time run out, he throws it across the field right into the arms of Chandler Jones, who trucks Mac Jones and runs for the touchdown game winner. For a team that needs these wins to make the playoffs, playoffs is very unlikely for the Patriots right now. It's bad. I do not envy the people that had to be in the locker room with Bill Belichick after that game. Just terrible. I'm going to try to speed run these a little bit. Chargers and Titans. Dicker the kicker, the Eagles legend, comes through again. I saw that Ryan Tannehill got carted off the field, came back. Amazing to see that. Just pretty cool. Buccaneers and Bengals. It was a 17-point. Buccaneers were winning 17. Nothing. Bengals said, nah, we're not doing this, and scored 34 unanswered points. I think Buccaneers scored the touchdown in garbage time, I think. But yeah, just Bengals are good. I can definitely see them going back to the Super Bowl. They are good. And they've had the Chiefs number, who is one of their big competitors in the AFC. I can see the Bengals being back in the Super Bowl, which is cool. They got a cool team. I like their players. Giants and Commanders. It was cool to see Taylor Heineke humbled. I don't know if it's my bias against like what happened when we played him, but I can't stand him, man. I don't like the way he carries himself. I know it's kind of petty, but I don't care. I don't like the way he thinks that he just walks with an arrogance about himself. He was like pushing cameramen out of the way during the game. Just he just thinks he's all that, and then to see him not be able to score on it was like 4th and goal. It was pretty satisfying to see. Looks like Giants just got to handle business, and they're in the playoffs. I was talking to my friend who's a Giants fan. I was like, hey, as an Eagles fan, playoff experience, like I know people were like, oh, you should try to lose games, get a better draft pick. Playoff experience is invaluable, man. It is so important. Being punched in the mouth in Tampa Bay last year in the playoffs was so important to get to where we are now, because we were hot. We were hot. We were so hot. We were winning all these games, and then we got punched in the mouth at Tampa Bay. And that kind of gave us a wake-up call. We got to fix some things. If we want to compete next year, we got to fix some things. Now here we're 13-1. So if Giants get some playoff experience, yes, they might get blown out, sure. But, then you get to say, okay. And they get to look at themselves as, okay, is Daniel Jones what we want to do? Do we want to franchise tag this guy? Or do we want to look at, like, Richardson from Florida? I think that's his name. Look at him, maybe bring him on, and then have Daniel as a bridge quarterback. Or do we want to look at the free agents, bring him in? And then you can see what you need to do on defense, offense. You obviously need more weapons. So you get like a good... You get to measure yourself against the best. And just be like, okay, what do we need to fix? Right? And I think it just helps prepare you for next season to get better. So I think it's important. Packers and Rams are tomorrow. Not too important of a game. It's two bad teams. So yeah, pretty long video, but I think I wanted to really talk about how crazy this week was. A lot of crazy good games. Just good football. I think if college football didn't exist, I think NFL on Saturday would be a golden marketing thing, because these games were fantastic and you could do really good things. And I think it's better than having a Thursday night option and having a really short week for these players. So yeah, that is all. Let me know what your favorite game of the week was. What's your playoff predictions? We're going to get into that later. I also have some other things in the works, specifically about the Eagles, but that's all I'll say. And yeah, let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, share. We're just trying to get this out. During winter break, I want to push out as much content as I can. Because, when school happens, it's not going to be as frequent. But I want to try to get as much as I can. All right, well, that's going to be it for me. See ya.